So let's walk through the steps of creating onboarding a school on Edumanager. So every person, every partner on Edumanager has his own username, has his own email address and password that he can use to log in. So let me log in now. All of you will be giving your own username, your own email login and password to be able to use it to log in. So let me quickly use a test account to do a demo login so that you see what it looks like when you log in as a partner. So this account is a partner and I'm logging it in at the moment. So when you are logged in, right, you'll be able to see this information here, but we'll come to it. However, the most important thing here is the onboarding link, right? This onboarding link identifies is actually just basically a registration page. That's the registration point on the website. So if you want to onboard any school, use this link because this link is actually tailored to you. So copy this link. Let's say you want to onboard any school, copy this link, log out, right? Log out here and now come over to your address bar, enter the address and then hit enter to log in, right? So upon opening this page, you will now be able to register that school. So let's take a school for example. Now, for you to register a school is also important. It's always important that you have a licensed person on that school. You have a go-to person, that the person that will serve as the admin for this particular school on Edumanager. You have to register the person's name. So let's use some hypothetical name, right? So let's say the person's name is Michael and the last name is Obuji. Yeah. So and yeah, on other names optional, phone number, just put the phone number of the person, right? And then email, put the person's email, right? And or formulate one for the person, right? Then the gender, select the gender, and some of these are optional. So for password, always use something that is easy to remember, right? Easy to remember because you are going to give these login details to the person, to the school. That is the login details the school admin will be using to log into the account, right? The school admin are going to be using these login details to log into the account. So quickly, the next thing is to create the institution. So the institution here is the most important thing. So what's the school name? So let's say we are talking about King's College, right? Or King's Secondary and Primary School, something longer, right? Secondary and primary school, right? Then what's their phone number? Enter the school's phone number, right? If they don't have a phone number, if no phone number will give to you, can still use this person's phone number. What is a school email? So it's King's, right? King's College, right? At gmail.com. Again, you formulate one when there is none. Address is optional. If there is an address, put it up. If there is not, go ahead. So, oh, address is demanded. So let's just say Lagos, right? But put the full address if need be. So you now create the account, right? Create the account. So upon creation, the account has been created, right? Account is created and it gives you this information. Don't worry, there is nothing here. You simply get to know that you have completed the registration of that school. You have done the initial step of registering that school. So what do? You go back to your login page, right? Go back to your manager.login. When you go back to the manager.login, you now log in with your own details. Remember, you have your own partner login details. You now use your own details to log in. So we use this to log in, right? Good. So use this to log in. Immediately after login, go to registration request, right? Registration request. Come over here, click on registration request. When it opens, you now see the school. Look at you. You are the one that registered the school, and then this is the name of the school and the other details. So there are two things to do. Edumanager allows people to actually create multiple schools. So there is possible that this school has a branch in Lagos, has a branch in Port Harcourt. So what we will do is we first of all create an institution group. Institution group is the name of the group so that we want to be able to accommodate a school that has group of schools. So first of all, you create a group, right? You create a group for that school. Let's say King Schools, right? King Schools. You are using a compound name. We're using a compound name because the King schools is covering for all the different schools or King's group of schools, right? But if they only have one school, just name it King's School, right? King's Secondary and Primary School. But King's group of schools, that's what I'm using here. So an institution group has been created, right? Now is now the time to create the institution. So we've now click on register. Remember, you have already filled the information that needs to be used to create the institution already. So creating it here is simply asking you to select the institution group that you want to create it on top, right? So if you are registering, so it's if tomorrow you want to register another branch of this school, you don't need to create another institution group. You simply need to register that institution on top of this institution group. So what do I do here now? You click on the institution list of institution groups, select the institution group, right? Click single group of group, and then create and submit. What it means is that you have now created an institution. If you now come over here, come over to the institution group, you now see the King's group of schools and how many institutions are under it. Just one, right? Just one institution is under it. If you come to institutions here, you will now see the institution itself, right? This is the institution. This is the name of the school. It is under this King's group of schools, right? You can now, it will now allow you to create another school, maybe another branch of this same school, this place, right? Another branch of this same school. You can now create another branch of this same school right here. So I would have loved to do that, but maybe we can do it later. So, but importantly, let's go now to the steps of setting up the school because you have now created the school. The next step is to set up the school. Now you can either use the login details of that admin, that school admin you used, or as the partner who is in charge of this school, you can simply impersonate, like right, log into the school without logging into the school. Yeah, impersonate, right? So you are now in the school. When the school logs into their account, this is what they see. They see their users, the subjects, the results, but everything has not been set up at all. So to help you be able to set the school up comfortably, you click on this complete setup. So you see the list of things that you need to do when you want to set up a school. So what are the things you need to do? You need to register their subject, their classes, register their subjects, register their teachers, register their students, register their teachers, assign subject to teachers, right? Because if you have 10 teachers, all the teachers are not teaching the same subject. So you can assign subject to teachers. So, but I'll take it one step at a time and do it as quickly as possible, right? And I'll just do it a few times, right? So you go to, first of all, add classes, because if you go to classes, you can see the classes are empty. If you go to here, classes are empty, right? There is nothing here. So that is why you have to, first of all, add classes. So you click on add now, right? You click on add now, it takes you to a page where you register a class. So how do you do it? How do you register a class? First, there is class group. Now, unlike institution group, look at how class group works, right? First of all, there are schools you go to and you see they have JS1A, JS1B, JS1C, JS1D, right? They are basically the same class in one class group called JSS1, right? So if instead of you registering JS1 and JS1L, JS1 so let's say you want to register it. So instead of you registering JS1A, JS1B and all of them without having to put them in one bucket, we simply create a class group first. The class group should be created first, and you put the class group as what? JSS1, right? You create a class group. After creating the class group, you can now say JSS1A, right? Description is optional, just leave it out. There is no form teacher yet. If you want a form teacher, you can register the teacher and put it. Now, all teachers already offer the same subject. Leave this as checked. Yeah, yeah. I'll drill down. I'll explain this one in detail later. But leave that checked. So simply put JSS1A, right? And then of course select the class group as JSS1 and then submit. So what this means is that this JSS1A is under the class group JSS1. I can add a new class, right? I can add a new class under JSS1 again, maybe JSS1B, right? Again, and submit. However, if you want to create JSS2, then you now have to create a new group because GSS2 is different from GSS1, right? So you create a new group. So instead, how do you do that? You simply do GSS2, right? GSS2. You create it there before you now create GSS2. Maybe they don't have GSS2. Maybe they only have one class GSS2. It's still fine. Just leave it at GSS2. Select the GSS2 and then submit. But importantly, this is to help you to make sure that all arms are under the same group. All arms under the same group. So don't go about creating GSS1A as a group, GSS1B as a group. No. GSS1, then there will be different arms under the GSS1. That is the difference between class, group, and class, right? So we have done that. So let's go back. We have added some classes. Then you can add more, add a lot of other classes. But since we have done adding the class, you now go to complete setup, go back to the home page, the dashboard, complete setup. You can see that the classes has been added, at least it's checked. So even though you might need to add more, but it's checked, right? The next one is to add subjects. So you click on add subjects, right? So the add subjects, enter the subjects, right? Let's say English. English, you submit, of course. Anything optional is optional, so you can just keep it. English, you can add more. You can add more, right? You can add more. Mathematics, um, so we just add one more. Just add one more because we don't need to add everything. And then what? Biology, very simple. And you can go on, but so we can go back to the dashboard and then go to the complete setup to know where we are. So we've done the two, done the next one. The next one is to add students, right? Add students. Now, for everything, whether it is for adding subjects or adding students, there is always a way, shorter way to do it, which is to use the Excel and upload it. But I'm just showing you the steps in just recording it one after the other, and we try to make it as quick as possible. So let's say we're adding this. So let's say the student's name is Emeka John, right? And then so you can put the other ones. And then emails, you should skip email for students. You skip the email because emails are optional and captioned automatically. It's only when the students have email that you can put. So we expect that many of the students don't have an email, and mostly they don't have a phone number. So all they are all optional. Select their gender, select their role, they are students, select it as a student. Alumni are for people that are not longer in that school. People that have left the school, these are the alumni. So select their class. Where are you registering these students, right? Select the class, maybe GSS1. Get their phone number if the phone number is available. The get their phone number is available, put it there, and then submit. Submit, right? So that records the student. So if you go to the student records, you now see there's a student record that this is a student, this is a class, this is the gender, the student ID, and an ID generated for the student, right? There are some schools that want to use their own ID, right? As long as it's not clashing with any existing ID we have, you can use this button to change the ID, right? If they want to use their own ID, as long as it is not clashing with any of the existing IDs that we have. So there is an option to upload the students, there's an option to download your own students, right? You can upload the students using Excel. If you just do that, you can download the template here. There is a template for you to use it to record the students. After using it to record the students, and then upload it here, right? But beyond that, you can add more students. So let's just add one more student to this class, and then let's say goodness, right? So and then the email optional, this is optional, the gender female student class GSS1 again, GSS1A again, and then you submit, right? So if you go to all classes, I think we have added two students to GSS1. So if you go to all classes and come back here, you see that the number of students in GSS1A is 2, right? The rest is still 0, 0. You still need to add more students there. But I think that's done for now. So since this is a demo, you can add the rest of the students using any other means that is easier for you. So back to this, we now have the next step, which is to add teachers, right? So add a teacher. So to add the teacher, you add James, the name of the teacher, Chuku, right? And email, phone number, everything optional, right? Everything optional, including phone number. So gender, male, role, teacher. You can add there's option for admin, that's the school admin, accountant, the accountant of the school, the teacher. More roles will come in later. So you add the teacher, right? And then we add, okay, a teacher's phone number is required. Oh, right. So we'll do this. So it's only optional for students. So we'll put a phone number. So let's say an email. If the teacher has an email, because he needs this email to log in. Oh, that's important. This teacher needs the email to log in. So there needs to be an email. If the teacher does not have an email, create an email for the person. And if you are creating an email for the person, The best thing, right? The best thing, if you are creating an email for this teacher, simply say the teacher's name, James, right? Chuku at edumanager.ng, right? It's very simple, and then create it for the teacher, and teacher record will be created, right? When teacher record is created, you can go in again, and so this one here is actually the admin. That's why you have already have a start. The one that you created at the time this account was created, account at the time this school was registered, right? So add one more teacher, Oluwa Femi, right? Data here, right? So go down, put the email, Femi at edumanager.ng, right? Sometimes use the full name to make it long so that nobody will get the same email. So put that, put that teacher, and then submit. Submit. So that's simple, right? Very simple. Now, we'll go back there. So let's know what we have done, how many things have we, how many steps have we completed. So we have done almost all the steps, and then so again, like I said, these steps are looks long because we are typing it manually. If you use Excel to do that, you can actually upload 1,000 students in 3 minutes, right? But I'm showing you the long steps so that you understand how the system works. So the last thing that we're going to talk about, okay, the second to last thing is assigning teachers to subjects. That's quite simple. So when you go to assigning teachers to subjects, you have a teacher. This is the teacher Oluwafemi, teaches biology. Select the class. Select all the classes this teacher teaches, right? All the classes. Say probably this teacher teaches all the classes biology. Submit. Go through, right? It goes through. You can also assign more. You can assign more. We have cases where one teacher teaches everybody, right? Teaches every subject. This teacher, let's say there is a teacher that teaches all the subjects. Select as many of them as possible. Select the classes as many of them as possible, right? Select the classes as many of them as possible, and then submit. So this teacher teaches all subjects, and that's that. So however it is, you'll be able to register it the way it is. Of course, this is where you record the results and so on and so forth. We'll come back to it. So if you go back to the dashboard, you see this, you continue to set up, and you can see that we've assigned most of the subjects. It's just remaining the add fees, right? Add fees is optional. You can leave it. I mean, it's actually for people that want to record their fees, but for completeness, right? Let me show you how to record fees here for completeness. So if you come to recording fees, first of all, you have to enter the fee title. What fee are you talking about? So let's say school fees, because which is the generic one. Everybody records, everybody pays school fees, right? So this is the school that pays school fees. Let's say the school fees is 50,000, right? Yeah, that's 50,000, right? And then they pay it termly. So there are fees that are one time, there are fees that are sectional, there are fees that are paid termly, right? So they pay termly, record that. So which term is it? You select the current term. Select the current term. And if this is not the current term, you have to go to the settings. When you set up a school, go to the settings and set their current term. So if you go to the settings, go to current term. Current term, I think where it should be in third term now, and that's 2025-2024 session. But this is the demo page. This is the demo page, so this is the most advanced one here. So you select the third term and update, and then set the section, right? Set the correct section. So that is that. And then when you are done, you can now come back to update fees, right? So this thing here, you can actually do it from other places, but I'm just showing you from the setup page what and what you need to do. So we go back to the fee setup page, and then we enter the school fees, right? And then enter the amount 50,000. It is termly. Well, I'll select it as termly. This is the fee for third term, and then this for this academic section, right? Now, the next thing is the line items that make up the fee. The line items that make up the fee. Now, um, what are the things that make up this fee? Well, for most schools, you see that tuition will take up the bulk of the payment, which is like 30,000, right? 30,000. And then you see that maybe they pay medicals, right? Medical will take like 5,000, right? You see that they maybe they pay for library, right? and there's another 5,000, and they probably they pay for um sanitation, right? Sanitation, and maybe another 6,000, and then maybe finally they pay for books. I want to complete it, right? For books for that term, and maybe 4,000, right? So with this makes up the items, the items. So when they are printing receipts, when receipt is being printed, you can now list what make up the school fees that they are paying for. What are the things that make up the school fees? These are the things that make up the school fees. And then you add your category. So who are these school fees meant for? Who are to pay for these school fees, right? Because in some schools the fees for JS1 is different for the fees for JS2. The fees for JS2 may be different from fees for JS3. So you set up the fees. Maybe this is fees for JS1. You can say you can put it to make it easier. JSS1, right? School fees, right? And then you can now come here and add the category. Very important, the category. If this payment is to be made by all students, then select it as all students. But this is if payment is for only people in JSS1. Now it doesn't matter if you're in JS1A or JS1B or JS1C, then use class group. But if it is for only JSS1A, you use class. Remember, if it is for all JS1, use class group. If it is for only a particular arm of a class, which is like JS1 only, then use the class. So if I say use class now, you can see it's giving me JS1A, JS1B, which one do I want? But if I say class group, it's only giving me JS1A and JS1 and JS2, which of the one? So it means anybody in JS1, if I select JS1, it means everybody in JS1 is paying this fee. Every single person in JS1 is paying this fee. If I can actually select more, right? But if it is for all students, you select this. Then if it is for associations, now groupings, we'll talk about groupings later. Just ignore that for now. So, but why do we talk about groupings? There are schools where, like University of Port Harcourt, which is also one of our people, they have non-teaching staff and teaching staff. Students of they have staff students and non-staff students. So staff students have a reduced payment when they are paying for fees, and non-staff students have a reduced payment when they're paying for fees. So we can use this grouping to group them accordingly, right? And then we submit. So what are we doing now? This is the payment just for one fees. It is to be paid 50,000 naira and it's to be paid termly for third term. This payment is for third term, 2023 academic section, and this is the items that make it up, and the category, the people that are to pay for this fee is GSS1, right? And you submit. With this now, it is now possible for the students to be able to start paying their fees. This is the fee, this is the fees, and this is what make it up, right? On the student end, they will now be able to send their fees. And this is where you can send reminder. This is where you can actually, click send your reminder, whether through SMS or through email. Send the reminder to the parents about the fees, right? So this is basically what it takes to set up a school. Remember, you log into your account. So if I go to this place and go to the setup page, you can see the setup thing is gone because I have completed all the steps to set up. Setup page, do everything about it. Maybe set the class. You can do the class from here, the students, the teachers, assign teachers to subjects, and then and set up the fees. Right. Once you are done with all this, the school is good to go. Give the school their login details, that admin login details that you created, and allow them to continue performing their operations. Right. So I hope this helps you well. You can stop when you stop impersonating, you go back to your account. So I hope this helps you well, helps you to get to understand how to onboard a school. So follow this every time. Remember, when you want to onboard a school, go to your dashboard. You see your onboarding link. You see your onboarding link. Use this onboarding link to onboard the school. Right? Onboarding means to register, basically to register the school. When you are done registering the school from the end, go to the registration request and then be able to create it. Now, we've already created an institution, right? We can let's say want to create another branch of this school, right? Because that's something important I want to do. Copy this link. So let's create another branch of this same King's College, right? So I log out and come to this page and put it up here, and the registration page is here. So let's say I want to create another branch of it. So you name the name of the staff admin that is going to handle it, right? So go to Jonathan, right? Jonathan Emo, right? And let's say this is a branch in in Akwa Ibom. So you put their phone number, right? One, two, three, four, right? So correct. So you put their phone number, put an email, Jonathan, right? At edumanager.ng. Then the gender should be what? Male. And then password. I normally use password as password for them. So they can actually change it on their own when they want. So let's say we are now registering in King's secondary and primary school, right? Right? Uyo. You get? So this is another branch of the existing school, right? Another branch of the existing school. Put their phone number, go there, pick their phone number, and put their email, right? King's Schools, King's College at gmail.com. We are basically using the same, right? And then we are now using what? Uyo. Uyo. And let's say I'm doing this, let's go into Uyo just to make it specific. So you now register, right? You now register. After this school is set up, the school will be set up now. So the moment it is done, the moment the setup is done, the next thing is to log in, right? You go back to the login page, right? Go back to the login page and you try to log in. So you log in with your partner account, right? Your partner account, and then put your password, right? After logging in to your um, partner account. So remember the school you have already created this year, but you are trying to create a new one. So you go to registration request. That is registration request. So what you have done is to create registration request. So this is the school that you have created before. So you now want to actually want to actually complete the creation process. Now you don't have to go and create another group. There you do not be very important. Don't create another group because you are trying to create another subset of the already existing school. So don't create another group. Simply register. Simply go to registration and then select the school, King's College, King's Group of Schools, because this school is actually an arm of the existing King's Group of Schools, right? And then submit. And then submit. The school is created automatically. So if you now go to the institutions, you now see there are two schools here. There is the King's Primary, maybe this one is the Lagos one, and there's the King's Primary Secondary School, this one is the Uyo one. And these are the two schools that you are using, right? So very important, you can again impersonate and now begin the setup process again. So I believe I hope this has actually helped you to understand how to onboard a school from start to finish. Thank you very much.